This is henceforth a Rebecca Hall Stan channel. Let's review her latest film, Resurrection. So, Andrew Siemens wrote and directed this horror film that examines how penetrating the psychological damage is for survivors of grooming and how difficult it is to escape the trauma, even later in life. Now, this story follows Margaret, played by Rebecca Hall, and life seems normal for her, who's seemingly living a charmed life, successful in business and raising her smart and relatively responsible high school daughter, Abby, played by Grace Kaufman. But what seems, and this is what I love, love, love about the screenplay, about the script, the story. What seems dormant in Margaret's subconscious starts to resurrect when her predatory ex-lover David, whom she hasn't seen in years, begins stalking her and toying with her emotions. Tim Roth plays David, a cunning brainwasher, 20 years Margaret's senior. Despite David's cult-like behavior, Margaret's parents, when she was just 18 years old, was convinced by David to let Margaret move in with him. Now, where the story really gets twisted is David eventually gets Margaret pregnant, and when she delivers the baby, the infant, premature, she named this baby Benjamin, David eats the baby. He literally ate his infant son. Devastated, Margaret eventually flees the clutches of David and moves on with her life, believing she was healed and free. Oh my gosh, this story is so brilliant. It is very difficult to play out things that are happening internally, and when I tell you that Rebecca Hall delivers. So as the story continues, and until now, so she goes on living her life, and that trauma again remains dormant until now. David returns and finds free spirit Margaret living her best life, but he begins controlling her psyche again, consciously and subconsciously. Now, Margaret is so stricken with fear that David will get his claws, he'll hook his claws into her daughter Abby, that she becomes overbearing and overprotective and controlling in an attempt to protect her daughter Abby. Now, Abby, and this is what's so brilliant about this story, because psychological damage, trauma, especially childhood trauma, is so transferable and generational. Like we transfer these pain bodies onto our kids, and it's seemingly passed down for generation to generation. And so much is unspoken in this film, but it just resonates with me. I just feel how powerful the message is. Abby believes her mom has gone crazy and fears for her own safety. This once strong mother-daughter bond spirals into a horrifyingly explosive conclusion of irreversible pain. I mean, this is such a fantastic story. I think it's brilliant how measured the pacing is too. Like this isn't a fast-paced film. It's a slow burn. It's slow and it's kerning, not unlike Grooming. We're hitched to the protagonist, Margaret, and the narrative sort of unfolds for us as it unfolds for her. I think Tim Roth's resolute performance made his insidious exploitation all the more chilling. Think about it. So often, the public image and persona of cult leaders have been understated. So, Tim Roth playing this role, subdued and restrained, to speaks to how the archetype creeps up on you undetected. He is spectacularly evil in this film, even playing subdued. Now, Rebecca Hall delivered an incredible performance, one of the best performances of the year. From the 37-minute mark to the 44th minute mark, Margaret spills her truth. The first time she's ever uttered these words, and you can feel the pain exuding from her pores. This is how brilliantly Rebecca Hall plays this role. At this very moment, anyone could have been standing before Margaret, but her assistant just so happened to be in the line of fire, to be the one to hear this message, to hear her pour her heart out. And it's an exhaustive monologue about her being groomed by David as a teen and the tragic and unsettling events that ensued. Even up to this point, it's one of the greatest jaw-dropping expositions I've seen on film, especially this year. I'm talking Glengarry, Glenn Ross level intensity. This speaks to how great of an actor Rebecca Hall is. She's such a tour de force. Her range is unmatched. Have you seen Resurrection yet? If you haven't, seek this one out. It is definitely worth your time, especially if you like stories with like deep-seated messaging, familial horror, and horrifying drama. I think you will love this film, and the performances, some of the best performances this year. Highly recommend Resurrection. Thank you so much. If you stuck around this long, I certainly appreciate you. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, peace.